It started with the flickering lights. They always did that in the back corner of the supermarket, near aisle 7. At first, I didn't think much of it. Fluorescent bulbs are always weird, and the place was old. But then other strange things started happening, things I couldn't explain. I worked the late shift at the shop in Save, the kind of place where the shelves are never fully stocked, and the smell of overripe fruit clings to the air like a bad memory. It's a pretty dead-end job, but it pays the bills while I figure out what I want to do with my life. Besides, it's not so bad. At least I don't have to deal with a rush of customers. After 10 p.m., the store is practically deserted. Just me, my coworker Kyle, and the occasional late-night shopper drifting through the aisles. Aisle 7 is where the cleaning supplies are. Detergent, bleach, paper towels, that kind of thing. It's the farthest aisle from the registers, tucked away in the back corner where the light flickers above. Customers rarely venture there, especially at night, but every once in a while, someone heads down it and lingers a little too long. I started noticing a pattern about 2 months ago. People would go down aisle 7 and never come out. At first, I didn't realize what I was seeing. I'd be at the register, half watching someone wander down the aisle. Then I'd get distracted by something, or Kyle would crack a dumb joke, and when I looked back, the person would be gone. I figured they'd just doubled back or gone to another aisle while I wasn't paying attention. But then it started happening more frequently. A man in a gray hoodie, a woman with a shopping cart, an elderly couple, they all went down aisle 7, and I never saw them leave. It's not like I was keeping track, but after a while, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I mentioned it to Kyle one night, joking that aisle 7 was a black hole for shoppers. He just laughed, said it was probably people sneaking out the emergency exit in the back to avoid paying. "This place attracts weirdos," he said, chuckling. I wanted to believe him, but I had never once heard the exit door alarm go off. Then came the night I saw the woman. It was a Thursday, late, nearing midnight. The store was dead quiet, except for the hum of the refrigerators and the occasional beep from my scanner. A woman in her late 30s came in, dressed in a business suit like she had just gotten off work. She had that tired, glazed-over look people get when they've been up for too long. She drifted aimlessly through the aisles, picking up a few things here and there. I didn't pay her much mind, just another late-night shopper. I watched as she headed down aisle 7. The light flickered above her, casting shadows that seemed to stretch unnaturally long. I was about to turn away when I saw her stop halfway down the aisle. She was staring at something at the far end, something I couldn't see from my angle behind the register. She didn't move, didn't pick anything up, just stood there frozen, her head tilted slightly like she was listening to something. A cold feeling crept down my spine. "Hey, Kyle," I called, trying to keep my voice casual. He was stocking shelves nearby. "Yeah," he replied without looking up. "You see that woman in aisle 7? Kyle turned and glanced in her direction. "Yeah, why?" "She's been standing there for a while," I said. "Doesn't that seem weird?" Kyle shrugged. "Maybe she's indecisive. You know how people get about cleaning products." I kept watching her, unease growing in my gut. There was something off about the way she was standing. Too still, too quiet. After what felt like an eternity, she slowly turned her head toward me. Our eyes met, and I swear to God, her expression was completely blank, like she wasn't even human. Her mouth moved, just barely, forming words I couldn't hear. Then she turned and walked deeper into the aisle, disappearing from view. I waited for her to come back out. She didn't. I walked over to aisle 7, my heart pounding in my chest. The air felt heavier back there, like something was pressing down on me. The light flickered above, more erratic now, casting strange shadows that danced along the floor. I called out, but there was no answer. I reached the end of the aisle, but the woman was gone, completely gone. There was no exit at the end of aisle 7. No doors, no hidden passageways. Just shelves stocked with bleach and dish soap. I felt a cold chill creep up my spine. I backed out of the aisle slowly, not taking my eyes off it. When I got back to the register, Kyle was looking at me like I was crazy. "What's your deal?" he asked, laughing. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Maybe I have," I muttered, glancing back at aisle 7. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I started watching the security cameras, keeping an eye on that aisle during my shifts. At first, nothing happened. It was just a normal aisle, nothing strange. But then I noticed something odd in the footage. Every night, right around midnight, the feed from aisle 7 would glitch for a few seconds. Just a flicker, barely noticeable. But when I slowed it down and looked closer, I saw something that made my blood run cold. During the flicker, for just a split second, I could see something standing at the far end of the aisle. It was blurry, distorted by the glitch, but it looked like a person, tall, with long limbs and an unnaturally thin frame. The figure didn't move. It just stood there watching. I showed the footage to Kyle, but he just laughed it off. Dude, it's just a glitch. These cameras are ancient. You're overthinking it. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to it. Something wrong with aisle 7. Last night, I decided to check it out again. I waited until the store was empty, until Kyle was in the stockroom, and I walked back to aisle 7. The second I stepped into the aisle, the temperature dropped. The light flickered, more violently this time, buzzing overhead like it was ready to burn out. I made my way down the aisle, my heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw it. At the far end of the aisle, where the shelves met the wall, there was a door. It wasn't supposed to be there. I'd worked at the store long enough to know the layout by heart, and there had never been a door there before. It was old, made of wood that looked weathered and rotting, with no handle. Just a flat wooden surface that seemed to pull slightly, like it was breathing. I took a step closer, and a low hum filled the air, vibrating through the shelves. The door seemed to shimmer, like it wasn't entirely real, flickering in and out of existence with the light. Then, as I reached out to touch it, I heard a voice behind me. A whisper, soft and raspy, coming from deep within the store. Don't open it. I spun around, but there was no one there. When I turned back, the door was gone. Aisle 7 was just a normal aisle again, the light flickering quietly above me. I ran out of the store that night and didn't go back. Today, I got a call from my manager. Kyle didn't show up for his shift. They found his car in the parking lot, but no sign of him anywhere in the store. I know where he is. He's in aisle 7, and I'm not going back to look for him. Whatever is behind that door, I don't think it's human, and it's hungry.